4.A. Explain the factors that contribute to unemployment in Kenya today. 6 marks. High population, whereby there are too many people for the unavailable. High population, whereby there are too many people for the available job opportunities. Lack of money to start individual businesses, or rather you can say there is an availability of finances. Another factor that contributes to unemployment in Kenya is some people lack skills, which make them not to be absorbed in the job market. There is also rural-urban migration. This is whereby many people are congested in towns where job opportunities are limited because of the migration. There is foreign aid. Dependence on foreign aid causes the donors to give conditions of employment. So it tends to have that some people cannot get those jobs because they have their own what? Their own conditions. There is also selfishness or greed. That is another factor contributing to unemployment. Some Kenyans have more than 2 jobs while others lack. That is due to being selfish and greedy. Education system. Many Kenyans prefer white-collar jobs after school, and because of the stiff competition to available spaces, many remain unemployed. So the education system makes, because most of the Kenyans' children are employed. Like now, how many universities do we have? Many, yes? So people are getting, a lot of people have degrees. What does that mean? And there are few jobs. It means some people will be what? Unemployed. Unless they start their own employment. Negative attitude towards work also contributes to unemployment. Some Kenyans lack the initiative to do or participate in economic activities. So you find some Kenyans are just idling around. That is due to negative attitude towards work. Number 9, there is an equal distribution of wealth. An equal distribution of wealth, that is, some regions have more resources that create employment than others. There is also new technological advance that are led to retrenchment. That is, new technologies are coming up, and you find some people are not updated, especially those people who want to do IT. I think IT changes day and night. New things are coming up daily. So if you don't upgrade yourself and your learning, you can be retrenched. Highly qualified in preference to less qualified. So the highly qualified people are much more preferred than the less qualified. So if you're going to do a job interview and you find that someone has a PhD, and you only have a Form 4 certificate, that means this person is going to get the job, yes? So that is due to the high qualified are preferred, the less qualified. Another factor contributing to unemployment is insecurity. That is, increase in crime discourages local and international investors. Especially when, during that time when we had a lot of bombing, there was a lot of insecurity. So most of the local and international investors did what? They never invested. And those who were around did what? They stopped investing. There is also bad governance or poor economic policies by the government. bad governance or poor economic policies by the government. Like you find out that those people who are in employment are highly what? Taxed. You're earning less than 10,000 a month and you are highly taxed. More than that person who's 100,000 per month. So we go to question 3B. Explain factors that have led to unemployment in Kenya today. Are they the same factors? You wrote the same thing. So factors that have led to unemployment in Kenya today. Number one, the growth rate of Kenya's economy is lower than the population growth. That means that has led to unemployment. Growth rate of Kenya's economy is lower than the population growth. So the growth of the economy is not going high, but the people are doing what? They are growing. Number two, there is inadequate land for those who want self-employment. For example, here we're talking about the inadequate land for those who want self-employment in agriculture sector. So if there is no land, people cannot start their own self-employment jobs. There is also inadequate funds to start economic ventures. Or basically here you can say lack of capital. It's still the same thing as inadequate funds. Adoption of lifestyles that do not promote development, for example, drug addiction. This also has led to unemployment, because if you start drug addiction, that means you'll be what? You'll be unemployed even if you're employed. There is a great part of Kenya that has low potential. For example, in Wajir, Garissa, yes? So, is it the northern part of Kenya? A great part of Kenya has low potential. Wrong attitude instilled in the youth by the society. That is, the youth think that they should only have white-collar jobs. For example, if I tell someone here after school, you'll go to sell charcoal, you will think I hate you immediately. Or I tell you after school, you'll have your own shamba and farm. You'll start hating me. You say I'm praying for you for bad things, because you have that mentality. But you find out that the richest people, they are owning acres and acres of land. Since they're into what? The agriculture sector, right? You don't have to sell the charcoal that I'm talking about for 10 shillings. You have a lot of what? Charcoal, but you know that is against the what? The government, because you're not supposed to sell charcoal, because that means you've cut what? Trees. What other job that people don't like that it has a lot of money? I know in agriculture, people are agriculture. Where do you live? Do you think most people in the central part of Kenya are doing? They are harvesting their what? Their tea. Mashari was meant to ask you, you don't want to be here? Because I can allow you to go outside if you don't want to be here. Because you keep on sleeping, I don't know why you're sleeping. You keep on going down, I don't know why you're going down. I have no idea how to please people here. We continue. Poor job distribution, where some people hold more than one job. That is basically poor job distribution. And here we're talking about, for example, now we are teachers, right? And when you're a teacher, you still want a job in the IEPC when the election starts. Yet there are people outside there who don't have what? Is that true? That's true. Or there's also something else which comes up, and you are a teacher and you still want that other job. You know, that makes people get even more unemployed, because People who are unemployed are the ones who are supposed to have such sort of what? Jobs. Policies that allow foreigners to take up jobs which would have been performed by Kenyans. Policies that allow foreigners to take up jobs which would have been performed by Kenyans. For example, those who are building the roads. I only see the whites. Is there what? The people from China, the Chinku, right? But now there's also another aspect that we're not looking at it. We give someone a Kenyan to build a road from here, let's say to tarmac this road from here to Kasilanga, right? You'll be shocked. After the road is made, 1 month, potholes. You remember that road between the market and the main road in town, right? That was done by a Kenyan, is it? And there was a hole in between, not even 2 months. So you give a Kenyan that job, they corrupt, right? So they tend to, that's why I think some of the jobs, when we say it's policies that allow foreigners to take up jobs which would be performed by Kenyans. But a good example of jobs that are performed by foreigners are supposed to be, if you go to Nairobi town right now, most of the Chinese people are selling the phones, right? They have a lot of shops there. Those are Kenyans who are supposed to be there, right? But no, there are policies which are in place. Low investment ability due to debt crisis. Low investment ability due to debt crisis and conditions set by donor countries. Low investment ability due to debt crisis and conditions set by donor countries. Yes, there are things we cannot invest that can improve our economy. Therefore, because now we have to pay the debt, only few people can be able to be employed because the economy is what? Is bad and employed. Application of redundant practices both in government and private sector. For example, application of redundant practices like retrenchment, which happened especially during COVID. There is also corruption or tribalism, causes unemployment. All of a sudden you're given a position, and I'm waiting for it. Whoever gets into power, many people are going to lose jobs if you're not from that community, is it? Yes. Even people in big farms are going to lose their jobs because they are not from particular what community. It has happened, right? Even look at those who are in power right now. That is because of what? Corruption and tribalism. We go to question 3C, is it? Yes, 3C. Discuss the role of a Christian during a strike. What are you supposed to do during a strike? Not to take part in the strike. Encourage other people to find better means of solving the problem. Encouraging other people to find better means of solving the problem. Mediate. Mediate is whereby we are saying to you inform the authority of any grievances if they are not aware. So that is, you bring back together the two parties involved. If it's the school and the students, you bring them together. If it's a particular company, yes, and the employer, that is the employees and the employers, you bring them what? Yes, that is your role as a what? As a Christian. Also, to pray for a solution to the problem. To pray is basically to seek God's guidance for a solution to the problem. Encourage peaceful demonstration. Also, your role as a Christian is to report the matter to the nearest police station. Question 4A. In what ways has the Kenyan government encouraged self-employment? 7 marks. Expanding the Juakali sector, or you can call it expanding the informal sector. That is, you expand it. Enabling people to borrow loans to finance businesses. Or you can say to create an environment to borrow loans to finance businesses. To organize trade fairs. To organize trade fairs. These are shows to present goods produced locally. They usually happen, most of them lately have been happening in the KCSE. So when you have the trade fairs, the investors in Kenya and also locally, local and foreign always get involved. So you bring whatever you're selling. If it's your kiondo, you come, you showcase it so that people can know about it. Whatever you're producing or whatever services that you're offering. Seminars held to train self-employed people, or workshops held to train self-employed people. And I think also through the KCB, through the KCB bank, they are doing so. They come and train, they do workshops for the self-employed people. Creating good relations with other nations to enhance trade. Good relation with other nations to enhance trade, so that we can be able to trade. Funding self-help groups. Here we are saying that you fund the self-help groups under the Department of Social Services. Creating trading zones in towns that charge lower taxes, or you create business zones in towns that charge lower taxes. For example, I think now is when Dubai are starting to tax. They were not taxing, but Qatar are not taxing. So you get your salary the way you were told to be paid. But now, if you're Kenyan and you're working, 30% goes to tax. So someone tells you, whatever they usually tell you, they tell you I'm earning 30,000, right? What does that mean? 3,000 is out, right? Yes. So minus 3,000, that is 27. It's usually written as pay as you earn. The higher you earn, they cannot tell you the amount I'm paying, you can be shocked. We continue. Current 844 education is geared towards self-employment. Even the 844 right now is not geared toward, the one that is coming, CBC, is 100% geared towards self-employment. Because we won't have a national examination like KCSE, right? We'll just do it as per child, depending on your ability. If your ability is singing, I major on it. And I'm going to, it is very good, that one. I think for me it is good. But very expensive for what? Very expensive for the parents. Look at those children who are young, yes? They have to cook, they have to come at home and practice, you have to look for a horse, they ride a horse. So I said current 844 education is geared towards self-employment. Also, I think that was because funding, we talked about it. Question 4B, state 5 ways the church can promote self-employment in modern society. Open more technical institutes for masons, carpenters, and electricians. This was KCSE 2000. Open more technical institutes for carpenters, electricians, masons. Also, the church provides guidance and counseling for positive attitude towards work. Provide guidance and counseling for positive attitude towards work. Enhance sense of responsibility in work. That is, enhance a sense of responsibility. You should be responsible. Even if you don't get a job, you can start your own what? Your own job. That is, you can go into self-employment. Giving assistance in obtaining equipment to the staff of small-scale enterprises, or giving assistance in obtaining the equipment to the self-employed persons. Giving assistance in obtaining the equipment for the self-employed persons. For example, you can obtain sewing machines for them so they can start out. Also, helping them find market for the finished goods. Help them find market for the finished goods. Organize courses for the self-employed to improve the quality of their products. Organize courses for the self-employed to improve the quality of their products. And lastly, you help them obtain premises for their business. That is, you help them obtain a place where they are going to work. If it's a go down, if it's a shop, you help them get a premises. Question 4C, give reasons why Christians condemn idleness. Why God doesn't want people who are idle? I usually see people who are idle over the weekend. Yes, most of the people are idle. Uko hapa tu umesimama, you're idle. That is idle. If you're sitting there down and you don't have a book reading, you're idle. Basically, that is against God's commandment because God ordained work. Yes, number one, God ordained work. Now, that's why we're saying that Christians condemn idleness because God ordained work. Jesus condemned idleness in his ministry in the parable of the talents. Jesus condemned idleness in his ministry in the parable of the talents. Idleness may lead to antisocial activities, for example, stealing, drinking. For example, those students who start drinking at an early age, like now when you're in school, is because at home you don't read. If you are reading at home and you are helping your father and your mother in household chores, you will not be drinking or using any other drug because you're busy, right? Yes. So, idleness may lead to antisocial activities like stealing and drinking. Also, idleness, it leads to poverty. That's why Christians condemn it. It leads to poverty. Idleness is a failure to glorify God. It's a failure to glorify God. Jesus worked, so he endorsed the dignity of work. endorse the dignity of work. Also, idleness, it dehumanizes individuals. Dehumanizes. You can use S. We go to question 5A. In what ways has the Kenyan government encouraged self-employment? We've already talked about it, right? We talked about it. Did we not talk about it? I thought we talked about it. When we were talking about, that was question. Oh, we've repeated, that is 4A. 5A, what factors lead to child labor? We talked about them. There is desire for money. You are a child and you want money. Desire for money, or lack of schooling, lack of guidance and counseling for children, lack of role models, being homeless, lured by employers, attraction to urban areas. This, I think it's rampant because everyone wants to go to Nairobi and find a job. Then you wonder what is in Nairobi. Availability of cheap labor from children. If you help a child, you employ a child who's 13 to 16 years becoming a house help, you just pay her how much? 4,000, which is very bad. Permissiveness in the society. Dropping out of school due to reasons like pregnancy. So you know they are young and they need to raise up a child. Dropping out of school due to reasons like pregnancy. We talked about poverty. So this leads to children not going to school, therefore they go look for employment. Exploitation of children due to their ignorance. So write ignorance. Question 5B. Discuss how children are abused in the workplace. Long working hours. Being underpaid or denied wages. Physical and sexual abuse. Denial of healthcare and education. Wewe andika ile unasikia mwenzako atakusaidia hiyo nyingine. Denial of healthcare and education. Verbal abuse. Denial to air their grievances. Denial to go to church and fulfill their spiritual needs. We talked about physical and sexual abuse, being forced to make a profession out of begging. Question 5C, identify how Christians can deal with issues of child labor and neglect. How can you deal with it? Practicing justice in the way they deal with workers, by practicing justice. Advocating for the rights of children. Teaching about Jesus' attitude towards children. Teaching about Jesus' attitude towards children. Helping poor parents to take care of their children by providing them with jobs. Educating parents that child labor, abuse and neglect is a crime and a sin. So let me reread all of them. Practicing justice in the way we deal with workers, advocating for the rights of children, establishing legal clinics that can take up court cases of children abused through labor and neglect. We'll continue.